Hi friends, hope you are all doing well. Shall we discuss the poem Kindness by Naomi Shihab Nye with a small introduction. Kindness is a 34-line free verse poem by Palestinian American poet Naomi Shihab Nye. It was written in 1979 and originally appeared in her first full-length collection Different Ways to Pray in 1980. And the poem was inspired by Naomi's lived experience while traveling through Colombia. It highlights the tragedy of life and it encourages kindness. The poem title itself is Kindness. So it encourages kindness and compassion. In spite of it, it explores the themes of equality, connection, and free will. So the poem is structured into 3 stanzas. And Naomi's inspirational poem Kindness begins with the word before. So here you can see anaphora. So anaphora means the poem. Anaphora is a rhetorical device that utilizes repeated words or phrases at the beginning of the successive sections. So look at the poem. Each of the 3 stanzas open with the word before. So before you know, before you learn, before you know. So in this way you can see in each stanza stanza starts with the word before. So for this we call it a anaphora. Anaphora means the poem make use of anaphora means it's a rhetorical device that utilizes repeated words or phrase at the beginning of the successive section. Then we call it anaphora. So shall we discuss the poem? Kindness. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. So before itself I will inform you, it's a philosophical poem and it is easy to understand the meaning and the theme of the poem. So just listen. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go. So you know how desolate the landscape can be between the region of kindness. How you ride and ride thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. So before you know, look at the first line. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. So the you mentioned here is a universal you. That means representing people in general. Me, you, those who are hearing, you. So it is not representing a specific individual or it's not pointing out and telling a particular person's name. So the you mentioned here is universal you representing people in general. And the poet says one has to lose things and then the meaning of kindness can make sense. That means a person has to lose his grip over the things he likes the most, and then this value wakes up in the heart. So in short, we must detach from our self-centered thoughts. In simple words, we must detach from our self-centered thoughts. So before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things, feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. So the following line presents an interesting comparison. So see, according to the speaker, kindness feels like the future. The future is dissolving. Kindness feels like the future is dissolving within a moment. It is like a salt in weakened broth. So here the speaker is telling it is like a salt in weakened broth. So there are 2 concepts. Now one is salt and another is weakened broth. The first element, that is salt, represents the future, and the following refers, that is the weakened broth, refers to the mind. Keep that in your mind. The first element represents the future and the following refers to the mind. So kindness makes the mind so soft and stable that future thoughts dissolve in it like salt. So as you all know, after the recipe is prepared, we cannot separate salt from the dish. Likewise, kindness helps one to get rid of desires, and if we have selfish desires, what happens? It stops us from being kind to others. So the poet here is telling us our desires must not be selfish. We must show kindness to others. We must have the feeling to show kindness to others. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go. So you know how desolate the landscape can be between the region of kindness. The first line hints at the things held in one's hand. So each person has some things in their hand, in their hands. They possess something. This image of the hand holding onto something is a reference to possessiveness. Maybe it is an attraction for an object. Maybe it's an attraction for a person or something else. So here Naomi presents 2 verbs. to count and to save. So these are verbs, to count and to save. So both of these verbs are related to money. To count, so it's related to money. To save, it is also related to money. Through these two lines, we can understand that the speaker is talking about how a person saves money throughout his life for his purpose, and it can be any valuable material that one keeps in their savings. Here the poet says, this attitude hints or blocks one to show kindness to others. So what the poet tells is this mindset leads one to think only about oneself. So that means we will become selfish. So the attraction to the things that a person hoards must go. And to be kind to others, people have to be free from the attraction of mere materials. It's the advice of a poet. So the desolate land is compared to a person. So desolate land is compared to a person, and that person who is what is the quality of that person? That person who is kind to others. So when personal desires fade away, there comes a state of perfect peace. So desolate land is compared to a person who is kind to others. And so before understanding how kindness feels like, the mind has to be like a desolate region. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. So the bus is a metaphor for the course of life. So riders continue this journey on the way of kindness throughout their life, and when the mind becomes free from all the attractions, it smoothly runs on the track of kindness. So if it has to smoothly runs on track of kindness, what we have to do? The mind must be free from all the attractions. So according to speaker, a kind person is like a rider on the bus, and the passengers who are engrossed in mundane thoughts. That means the passengers, they were lacking interest in thoughts. They were thinking some things, and who are engrossed in their mundane thoughts are also there as passengers. But the person alone in his thought, he can see them eating maize and chicken. The only difference is there are no desires for such things in his heart. Those who have the kindness, and he would stare out of the window and look at the region of kindness. So this metaphorical bus as well as the journey depicts life as a whole. So it's a representative of the course of life. Shall we go to the stanza 2? Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with the plants and the simple breath that kept him alive. So it's a philosophical poem, and the poem was inspired by before explaining the second sentence, I will tell one more thing. The poem was inspired by Naomi lived experience while traveling through Colombia. So it is about the importance of understanding misfortune and treating others with the compassion. The poem describes her own experience of grief, Naomi's experience of grief and the mourning, the loss of two of her sons. So from this experience, she wrote this poem. So before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. So here the speaker presents a shocking image of an Indian. He is in a white poncho and he lies dead by the road. This image implies an unnatural death. Here the poet refers to the transcendence of life. Transcendence of life means lasting only for a short time. Our life is lasting only for a short time. It is we can't guarantee. So the speaker here talks about a particular place where the dead body can be found. So here the speaker is telling he is in a white poncho and he lies dead by the road. So in that unnamed place, the racial conflict may be exist, and the Indian can be a victim of unkindness and brutality. So here the poet is telling, the speaker talks about a particular place where the dead body can be found, and in that unnamed place racial conflict exists, and the Indian can be victim of unkindness and brutality. So if anyone wants to know the role of society, they have to travel to place where this value is and in humans. If you want to know the kindness or the role of kindness, you must travel to where this value is absent in some humans. So to that place if you go, you will understand the meaning of the kindness, the value of kindness. Then we can, or you can realize the value of kindness. So here that person in the white poncho was similar to any other human being. That's why the poet is telling a line. See, you must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with the plants and the simple breath that kept him alive. So that person in the white poncho was similar to any other human being. He had dreams in his heart. Beside, he was journeying through the metaphorical night with the plans for tomorrow. We all have plans for tomorrow. Before going to sleep, we will plan so many things in our mind to finish what are the tasks we have to finish the next day. So even the person did not know that the plans he was thinking the previous nights were going to prove futile. So here the poet says, people always think about themselves. They value their lives over others. So here the poet, simple breath that keeps them alive. They don't have the time to think that the breathing can stop at any point of time. So I hope the second stanza is clear for you. And shall we go to the third stanza? Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. So two things here the poet is telling, I will explain. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches a thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. So here the poet mentioned two feelings. The first feeling is kindness and the other one is The other one is sorrow. The deepest sorrow in a person's mind may help one to understand the value of kindness. So it's very true. If we have experienced that, then we will understand. The deepest sorrow in a person's mind may help. It help us to understand what the value of kindness. For example, a person who is enjoying life cannot understand how sadness feel like. It's very true philosophical poem. So a person who is enjoying his life, he can't understand the sadness or the sorrow the other person is experiencing. If this sorrow comes into his life only, he can feel the same feeling the other has felt. So a person who is enjoying life cannot understand how sadness feels like. When life hits hard, the value of kindness becomes clear. That's why the speaker says, reader must wake up with sorrow. It can be a reference to personal sadness or the grief of others. So a person in an emotional crisis can catch the thread of others' sorrow. So we can find two important metaphors. One is the thread of all sorrows. This thread stands for personal desire. According to speaker, desire is a root cause of all sorrow. In the beginning itself, the poet said we must not have the feeling possessiveness and selfishness. So selfish. So according to speaker, desire is a root cause of all sorrow, and here the thread stands for personal desire. And after realizing it, one can see the size of the cloth. This cloth is a metaphor of humanity. So in conclusion, humans are like threads, and collectively they form a cloth that is referred to as humanity. So here the poet talks about the grief of mankind. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, it is I you have been looking for, and then goes with you everywhere like a shadow or a friend. So when one can feel how others are suffering just like him, he or she can realize the importance of showing kindness to others. The speaker explores a simple act of kindness. So we have to walk in another's shoes, go extra mile for someone, and see from another's perspective, or if we want to have true empathy. So in kindness, there is a care for other, but real kindness is a empathy. Empathy means the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. That is the meaning of empathy. We must have the ability to understand and share the feeling of others. So in there is a care for others, but real kindness is the empathy where we feel what they feel. So the final two lines of the poem, see, it is I you have been looking for, and then goes with you everywhere like a shadow or a friend. So here it tells about the kindness. The final two lines of the poem leave the reader with a positive thought, personifying kindness as a welcomed being in anyone's life. Kindness goes with you everywhere like a willing partner who aims only to please. At times it may be like a shadow, something that follows a person around when he or she is alone. At other times, kindness may be like a friend. So kindness is conveyed as a perfect companion. So the poem does not actually tells about the sufferings. It also tells about the importance of the kindness, the feeling we must show to others. So it upholds the poem kindness. The poem upholds the value of kindness in the modern world, and this poem talks about its value. And the Naomi Shihab Nye describe how people can practice kindness in their day-to-day lives and why they have to be kind to all. Second to speaker, for understanding kindness, one has to get rid of selfish thoughts. I hope you are all clear with this poem, and if you like this video, please share, subscribe. Thank you.